Welcome back. In the United States of America, a group that calls itself Republican Hindu Coalition organized an event that in which they called Donald Trump the Republican candidate. And Mr. Trump there spoke a few things about how he loves Hindus and how he loves India. So why is a Republican candidate talking about his love for Hindus? I'm not aware of any other leader, forget candidate, mentioning such a thing. That's what we're going to talk about. But before that, let's play the story that my colleague and WION's New York correspondent, Pavni Mittal, filed. Have a look.
I am a big fan of Hindu and I am a big fan of India. Under a Trump administration, we are going to become even better friends. In fact, I'll take the word even out because we are going to be best friends. We will defeat radical Islamic terrorism. When I'm president, we will stand shoulder to shoulder with India in sharing intelligence and keeping our people safe. That if I'm elected president, the Indian and Hindu community will have a true friend in the White House. That I can guarantee you, that I can tell you.
And with that, Donald Trump made his presidential pitch to one of America's largest, most educated and richest immigrant groups, Indian Americans. Hosted by the Republican Hindu Coalition, the charity gala for Hindu victims of terrorism had a clear political agenda: get the largely Democratic voting Indian Americans to support the Republican candidate.
I think Trump would be excellent for India. If Indians like Narendra Modi, then they will love Trump, because Trump is America's Narendra Modi.
Trump!
Donald Trump, man.
Donald Trump!
Next president of the United States.
That's right.
We are from India, especially we are supporting Trump because he is thinking for everybody, as a business, for other countries too.
I'm here for the show and also to see if Trump has something to say to the Indian community.
While some came to watch their favorite stars perform, most people came here to see the Republican candidate up close and personal. His sexist and anti-Muslim comments notwithstanding, many here believed that Donald Trump was not only a better candidate to lead America, but also for the Hindu community in the US and back home.
See here, he's the only candidate who has had an event devoted completely and totally to Hindus. He has stated publicly that he believes that Hinduism has contributed greatly to the world.
Technically speaking, he's not a guy who can always bullshit. See, politics is all about, bullshitting and then trying to cheat the people. He seems to be pretty heartful of truth. Though people say that he is very temperamental, in my opinion, I think, he's going to be a very, very real guy. He's a very patriotic guy. He knows exactly what he's doing.
But not everyone was impressed. Drawing parallels between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Donald Trump, some believed that putting the billionaire in the Oval Office would be detrimental to women and society at large.
With heightened cross-border tensions back home, the anti-Pakistan and anti-China rhetoric, along with the promise of a more sympathetic White House, resonated strongly with the Hindus present here. But getting the votes of the entire Indian American community, which has in the past voted overwhelmingly for the Democratic Party, will be a tall task for Donald Trump, who, thanks to his latest controversies, has seen support wane not only among the electorate, but also within the Republican Party. In New Jersey, Pavni Mittal for WION.
That's the report there in the studio. Vidya Shankar Iyer continues to be with us. Thanks very much. And we're also joined by Mr. Guruswamy. He's Distinguished Fellow of the think tank ORF. My colleague Pavni Mittal from New York is also going to join us in just a bit. But let me take my first question now to Mr. Guruswamy, since he's joining us from outside and Mr. Iyer's been with us for some time now. So what do you make of this? I love Hindu, I love India.
He should say Hindus for a start. So he's talking about I love Hindu as if, he likes Indian food or whatever, So I think, this guy is just fishing for votes. He's melting down very rapidly. I don't think Modi would like to be compared to him. He's a bad poster boy for any politician. He's indiscreet, he's loud-mouthed, he's rude, He hasn't paid taxes for years. I don't think he's anybody's poster boy. Least of all Narendra Modi's, who is really concerned about his image and trying to win broad acceptance. Trump has abused everybody. He's abused all minorities. He's abused the Hispanics. He's abused Muslims. And his only ethnic friend he's taking is 5,000 Hindus who gathered in Edison. And Edison does not reflect the true profile, demographic profile of Indians in America. Indians in America are the richest income group in America, but Edison is a different kettle of fish, because Edison people are the people who cater to services, newspaper vendors, restaurants, hotels and all this stuff in New York. And they are not the high-tech, well-educated people who live in California and Texas and other industrial areas. So, I don't think that is a microcosm of the Indian community abroad. It's a very small group. And in any large community, Indians are about 3 million strong in America. You'll have discordant elements who don't fit in with the mainstream.
Mr. Guruswamy,
mainstream India is still educated, is still refined, is still sensitive.
Exactly, sir. So, there are about 3 million Indian Americans in the United States, and 5,000 of those visited this specific event. Mr. Iyer, first reaction from you over, what is this group, Republican Hindu Coalition? And then what is Mr. Trump trying to do? Has the campaign managers of Donald Trump gotten it completely wrong?
No, I don't think he's got it wrong at all. I think what we missed out is what he kept repeating there. He spoke about radical Islamic terrorism, and I think that's the key point. He's trying to reach out to sections everywhere, in America, in India, where he wants to put across the message that he will be strong on radical Islamic terrorism. After all, that is his strong wicket, where he thinks he's going to score against Hillary Clinton and so on. I've actually heard Indians tell me, Indian Americans who've come back to India and so on, they've actually told me things like this, that, once Trump becomes president, it'll be Trump with the Russians and the Israelis. They'll knock out the radical Islamic terrorists, whatever, from around the world.
So he's trying to connect with, he's basically playing on that fear, would you say?
Playing on the fear, and don't forget, and using Narendra Modi, the comparison there on Narendra Modi, while it may be distasteful for Mr. Modi, tomorrow if Mr. Trump does become president, he'll have to swallow that pride and still deal with Mr. Trump. The fact remains that there is a sizable, vocal section in America that believes in Trump.
Okay, Mr. Guruswamy, there's not a chance in hell that Trump's going to win. Sir, while I come to you, I'd actually like my studio to cut to this shot, because we've got these visuals, and I think these visuals have sort of got all our attention. This is when Donald Trump, when there was a Havan ritual puja was organized. These are the celebrities that attended that event. Shalabh Kumar is the chairman of Republican Hindu Coalition, and that one specifically caught my attention. It's going to come up because it's a loop. It's going to come up again. There, Donald Trump sitting on a lotus. Lotus is BJP's, India's ruling party's election symbol. And in one of those, Hillary Clinton and Sonia Gandhi targeting Narendra Modi, and sort of Get Modi campaign, as it was called, trying to equate Sonia Gandhi to Hillary Clinton, and then in the same breath equating that one, Narendra Modi, with Donald Trump. Hindus for Trump, Hindus for Trump. I mean, what? Clearly, this is the job of that Hindu coalition, Republican Hindu coalition, right?
Yes.
But what was Trump's campaign managers, what were they thinking?
Well, they were trying to basically get him platforms which will accept him. First of all, you show acceptability. Given the environment in which Trump finds himself, any platform that gives him acceptability would be great. And what about Indian Americans, who are respected as a community in America, who are very rich as well and very influential also today?
But Mr. Guruswamy is saying that this gathering is not necessarily representative of those Americans. Let me go to him. Let me bring him in. Mr. Guruswamy, sir. So you were,
tell me. Ask me.
You were making the point that this gathering was not necessarily representative of the 3 million Indian Americans, but a tiny part of it. And Mr. Iyer is saying that this was very strategic because Mr. Trump is playing on the fear of terrorism that Indians have vis-a-vis Pakistan, and then Americans have vis-a-vis ISIS.
No, I think Indians in America are a different lot. They're mostly highly educated people, professional people, more focused on their work, their studies, and things like that. This lot in New Jersey, the Vishwa Hindu Parishad abroad, is no different from the lot here. You can even hear them speak. They speak like the fellows in wherever, in Mehsana or wherever. But to equate them with mainstream Indian Americans is totally wrong for a start. That lot of Indians are are very law-abiding, obedient people who go to office, who are high achievers, who are very content with their life in America and who wish to do something more constructive for India in transferring technology, in transferring resources. These people in the East Coast Indian, he's mostly a small businessman, small trader,
right.
Small employment. They don't send money back home. They don't send technology. They don't do anything. It's all totally wrong. That they represent India at all. So don't think of them as one group.
Right, so what is this group? Pavni Mittal is now joining us, and she was at that, she covered that event for us and filed that report. Pavni, thanks for joining us this hour. I know it's quite early there for you, but give us a sense of what is this Republican Hindu Coalition group? How do they come about this idea? How is it being seen in the US, this event, and when Trump says, I love Hindu, I love India?
Well, hi, Anshul. I was there at the event, and I'll give you a little bit of background on the RSC. So if you look at their website, they're very clear. So the Republican Jewish Coalition is one of the most powerful, is the most powerful immigrant lobby groups in the Capitol Hill. And this group, the RSC, is modeled along that. So Mr. Kumar's aim, and he is a staunch Republican, and his aim is to become the face of the bridge between the Indians and the Republican Party, because he is a staunch Republican. He's a big political donor. He was there at the Republican National Convention, and this is his way of getting, his community. And he said that he is Hindu. He's proud to be Hindu, and he is, trying to get some of them to support Donald Trump over there. But I heard a lot. I mean, I've been following the discussion. A number was being thrown around that is 5,000 people attended that event, and that is actually incorrect because I was there. Maybe that's what the organization is saying, but there were definitely not more than 1,000 people, and they were, of course, quite the fringe group. It's definitely a fringe group. I mean, I met a lot of people who were diehard Donald Trump fans over there. Americans also were there. There were some Hindu Americans who were there who were not, Indian. There were white Americans who had converted to Hinduism or had one Hindu parent, but it wasn't a representative of the Indian community here. The Indian community here is in Silicon Valley. It's here in New York. They're Ivy League educated, top university educated. They're Democrat. They're not also Republicans.
Right, Pavni, stay with us. They're also the taxi drivers. They're also the other workers who work in restaurants. And I mean, Indian community is certainly very large there. And I was there about 2 months ago. Of course, the first taxi I boarded was driven by an Indian origin American. And what is Donald Trump talking as far as, what his policy is when it comes to H-1B? There is no clarity. Let's play this up. Donald Trump's stunning flip-flop on immigration continues. In the beginning of his campaign, he declared that the influx of foreign workers holds down salaries, keeps unemployment high, and makes it difficult for poor and working-class Americans. Then in a TV debate on March the 3rd, that's the next graphic, we're just going to pull it up, Mr. Trump had changed his stance.
Trump changing his stance is not really
stay with us. We're just playing these graphics. Just stay with us. I'm just going through this information and we're going to come back to you. He said on March 3rd, he said, I'm changing. We need highly skilled people in this country. And if we can't do it, we'll get them in. Again, on a TV debate, he said, I remain totally committed to eliminating rampant, widespread H-1B abuse and ending outrageous practices. I will end forever the use of the H-1B as a cheap labor program. And then at a recently held Republican Hindu Coalition, which is what we're talking about, he announced, I love India, I love Hindu, and there was no word in H-1B. Pavni, stay with us. I'm going to get a final word. So, this isn't really representative. And Mr. Iyer, you started by saying that this was strategic because essentially he's playing on that fear of terrorism. But you look at this, H-1B is essentially what is going to hurt the Indian movers there, the Indian settlers. What do you make of it now? His flip-flop is quite obvious.
Well, a few things. One, on the flip-flop. Fully expect Donald Trump to flip-flop. And I think it is an expected thing of him. If anyone who imagines that Donald Trump has one idea about a particular subject is obviously wrong. His entire history will tell you that he flip-flops all the time. Secondly, I don't think that's too bad in itself. It needn't be.
Okay.
For example, you've had many presidents in America who announce a particular policy, then do something else altogether. I mean, the ready example that comes to my mind, given my interest, is that President Obama got a Nobel Peace Prize, no less, for his great Prague speech in 2009 saying, oh, we'll get rid of nuclear weapons in the world. And then he goes ahead and approves a $1 trillion budget to basically modernize nuclear weapons.
It's not a bad thing. If you keep it slightly flexible, I get your point, but what we're really talking about here, Mr. Iyer, is
here the point
who are
is,
these Indians who are supporting if he's, the H-1B,
the point here is not the Indians, as I told you. The point here is the platform that Donald Trump is getting. The platform which accepts him, which showcases that there are influential Indians, a staunch Republican, for instance. And don't forget, the Republican Party has had excellent relations with India.
Right, I'm running out of time, so we've got to get the other.
It was under President Bush that we got the civil nuclear deal.
I understand that, but when we talk to the diplomats here, they say our relationship with America is so strong that it doesn't really matter whether it's Republican or a diplomatic candidate that wins. So that's there as well. Mr. Guruswamy, before I go to my colleague Pavni Mittal, a final word from you, sir. H-1B, there's a flip-flop. He says, I love India, I love Hindu, and you're saying you should have said Hindus in the beginning. You're saying that gathering is not representative of the Indian community there. But it certainly had Indian Americans there. So we can't say it's not representative at all either.
I'm also going to add to what Vaidyanathan said. Even the Republican Party is opposed to him. Paul Ryan is opposed to him. McCain is opposed to him. Half a dozen senators are opposed to him. Half a dozen governors are opposed. Who is this fellow? Why are we wasting time on him? Why are we wasting goodwill on this fellow?
There were Gujaratis present there, the Indian Americans of Gujarati origin, Indian Americans there. But you can't say that it's completely unrepresentative. And on that count, I'll have to agree with Mr. Iyer. I'll go to Pavni now. Pavni, who were these people? Give us a sense. Who are these Indian Americans who are supporting Trump?
I agree with you. I mean, we might not agree with them. A lot of people might not agree with them, but they've caused form. They're Indians and they're there, and they were there to support Trump and to watch, their favorite stars perform. But if you look at it, these were Indians who really are the ones who are troubled by the Indo-Pak relations right now. They take Donald Trump's words, like a lot of Donald Trump supporters, saying he will end radical Islam. Now, Donald Trump has not given a plan, but for them, the whole idea that there is a man who's going to not give aid to Pakistan, there's a man who is going to be like, for them, he is the Narendra Modi. And they said that, he'll be like Narendra Modi. He will call out the Muslims. I spoke to someone who said that, I asked someone, I said, this might give a divisive message to the Muslims in India. And he said, well, the Muslims in India should denounce Pakistan.
Right, Pavni, I apologize. We do have Mr. Shalabh Kumar with us on the phone line, so I'd like to go to Mr. Kumar now. Mr. Kumar, you've started this Republican-Hindu coalition. You invited Donald Trump, and he says, I love India, I love Hindu. Should he not be loving other communities? What's the message that this event has tried to give, sir? Mr. Kumar, if you can hear me. All right, it would have been good to get him, but unfortunately that line, that connection didn't work out. I've completely run out of time, but I'm sure this is something we'll keep talking about. We've had some consensus, and on a lot of things we disagree. You continue to think that this was a platform that he's utilized.
Because he's hardly getting any platforms which accept him. And, an Indian platform is a good thing to show off, no matter how small it is. And he can repeat his central message to all of America.
I think Mr. Kumar has joined us. I'm sorry, I've got to interrupt because, Mr. Kumar, if you can hear me, sir, what was this event all about? Give us a sense of why you established Republican-Hindu coalition. Why were there posters of Sonia Gandhi and Hillary Clinton gunning for Narendra Modi? Why is the event trying to equate Narendra Modi to Donald Trump? All of these questions, sir, if you can answer some of them.
Sure. Greetings, first of all. The event was organized by Republican Hindu Coalition, which is patterned after the Republican Jewish Coalition, in fact, supported and started by Republican Jewish Coalition. We have similar in numbers in the United States, but they have experience of 20 years in establishing a power base, and they encouraged and we wanted, and Speaker Newt Gingrich encouraged it. The entire leadership of the party encouraged us to form a Republican Hindu coalition to provide a single, unified platform for Hindu voices to be heard on the policy tables of the United States.
Why not? Why not Indian voices? But let me just bring your attention back to this event. Why is this poster there, sir? Hillary Clinton and Sonia Gandhi gunning for Narendra Modi. What is that trying to show? What are you trying to say with that?
Well, this is a charity event. Now, we do not control what posters or whatever. If the people are invited, and I'm not aware of any of those. But this is a charity event which was organized to bring into consciousness of the world, and including the candidate for the President of the United States, the condition of Kashmiri pundits and victims of terror in West Bengal coming from Bangladesh. So this charity was organized, a charity event. Every single dollar.
So why is Donald Trump sitting on a lotus flower, sir, which is a symbol of the BJP? What about that poster?
I do not know about the poster. That's up to people to do whatever they want to do. Now, there is no question that Donald Trump and Prime Minister Modi, as he said in his speech itself, that they would be, in our opinion, very, very close allies, because they are speaking on the same terms, like Donald Trump has declared that...
Sir, Donald Trump has made highly sexist remarks, if not highly offensive, against women. Are you equating him to India's Prime Minister?
Madam, no. What you really need to see is not hyper, not symbolism, but talk. There is no question that I'll tell you how you should view this, how Indian viewers should see this. If you want the next U.S. administration to vouch for Kashmir to be merged with Pakistan, if you want
no, we don't want that, sir. That's not the question.
Okay. No, well, listen. Yeah, that's the question. Please pay attention as to what really goes on in the United States, and not just hyperbole. So if you want that, if you want a supporter of Lashkar, vote for Hillary Clinton. No problem. That's what you want.
So that's a huge generalization. Mr. Kumar, my panelist, I'm sorry to interrupt you, sir. We're running out of time, and my panelist, Mr. Iyer, would like to ask you a question. Go ahead.
Mr. Kumar, my question to you is, do you believe that Trump as president will act against Pakistan, as opposed to Hillary Clinton, who you suspect will not act against Pakistan?
He will be the most pro-India, pro-Hindu, pro-trade president, and he will do everything possible to make sure that the terror camps in Pakistan are taken out. That he will not be the one who will be sitting there with a theory which, like Hillary Clinton would, with Huma being her chief of staff, a Pakistani girl connected with Saudi Arabia, who will be giving you the argument, that we got to watch out for the nukes, because they have nukes, so we have to be in a very tender situation and very diplomatic situation. What Donald Trump, as a president, will do simply, terror camps need to be taken out. So they need to be taken out. And he will be in full support of India policies. He's already declared that there will be a lot more cooperation, much more than exists today, in the intelligence.
What about the H-1B visa, sir? His flip-flop on the visa, on the H-1B visa. What do you have to say about that?
See, ma'am, whosoever I'm talking to, you got to get the facts. Just got to get the facts. If you understand work in Capitol Hill, where I've spent the last 6 years, then you will understand. You just don't understand. I'm sorry. You just don't understand. Democrats, Hillary, forget about H-1. There are 1.5 million H-1 visa holders that are Indians, that their green cards have been approved. Their wait period is 50 years. 75
Okay.
years because they're from India. And what will remain in place will be Obama. Now, under Hillary, 50 years will become 100 years. That's their policy.
All right,
Okay,
Mr.
they
Kumar,
want undocumented-
I appreciate you joining us, and I do apologize. We'll have to interrupt now because we've completely run out of time. And as far as fact check goes, then I think Mr. Kumar needs to also sort of look at what Donald Trump has said vis-a-vis aid for Pakistan and them being a nuclear power. It's not very different. He's sounding perhaps a bit too strong on or against terror in Pakistan. We'll have to wait and see how that pans out. Thanks very much to our entire panel. Pavni, I do apologize. I couldn't come to you as often as I would like to, but surely there would be a next time. Mr. Guruswamy, thanks very much for joining us with your deep insight, not just on the subject at hand, but also in specifics like Edison, the town where this happened. And Mr. Iyer, you stayed with us for both of our discussions. Thank you very much to you.
Thank you.
Good night. For news updates from South Asia, WION is where you need to be.